Look at the sheer scale of this gathering. This is the traditional experience of devotion to Lord Ganesha, a massive, brilliantly colored idol towering over a dense, chaotic sea of devotees. For centuries, the physical environment of worship dictated the pace of our attention. This weathered stone carving is heavy, fixed, and permanent. It forces you to slow down and observe. But the modern environment of devotion looks entirely different. Today, spiritual connection often happens through a smartphone screen, a space that is small, intensely fast-paced, and engineered to constantly distract you. This presents a highly specific problem for modern 3D artists. How do you construct a profound sense of gravity and holiness using nothing but pixels, polygons, and rendering software? The answer lies in precise architectural instructions. Take a look at this digital blueprint, known as a cinematic divine prompt. It explicitly calls for a 3D cinematic animation of a majestic Lord Ganesha. Constructing a digital deity requires the artist to map ancient spiritual psychology onto a precise framework of modern cinematic techniques. The prompt begins with a strict directive for staging. The idol must be majestic and seated on a golden throne. This immediately establishes a visual hierarchy, commanding the viewer to recognize the subject's importance before they even process the details. You can see the necessity of that detail in this image of a heavily crafted golden necklace. In 3D animation, replicating this extreme, labor-intensive intricacy acts as a subconscious signal to the viewer that reference and care were poured into the creation. By meticulously rendering these traditional ornaments, artists ground what is otherwise a sterile digital medium. It provides the viewer with a familiar, ancestral anchor amidst the computer-generated geometry. From there, the prompt shifts to atmosphere, isolating a specific instruction: warm golden light emanating from behind the deity. Look at the glowing rows of oil lamps against this red wall. Color temperature heavily influences the psychology of worship. While white digital studio lighting feels clinical and cold, this specific orange glow replicates the physical warmth of a traditional temple fire. The prompt then adds drifting flower petals and glittering sparks. This serves as a clever digital replacement for the physical smoke of temple incense. In this generated sequence, watch closely how the glowing orange embers and soft flower petals slowly drift downward. The continuous motion of these particles creates atmospheric depth, tricking the brain into perceiving the 3D space as alive and breathing. These choices of staging and lighting are heavily calculated. They are precise tools engineered to replicate the physical warmth and gravity of an actual temple inside a digital environment. Once the atmosphere is set, the prompt gives an explicit camera directive. The camera slowly pans around the idol. Cinematic movement dictates the viewer's internal rhythm. Where rapid edits trigger alertness and tension, a continuous slow pan mirrors the steady, focused breathing of a practitioner in a physical shrine. This image shows devotees walking along a stone corridor. This is the physical act of pradakshina, or circumambulation, the historical precedent of walking around a sacred space in a deliberate, rhythmic circle. In this diagram, the physical ritual maps into a digital orbit. The 3D camera pan is a proxy for the viewer's feet, guiding them in a slow circle. As the orbit finishes, vision locks onto the center node, the serene expression of Ganesha's face. Pairing the calming, circular movement of the pan with that serene facial expression physically forces a moment of quiet, uninterrupted meditation for the viewer. This digital cinematography actively directs a ritualistic physical experience for the viewer's brain. Intricate cultural staging, golden lighting, and meditative camera movement. Together, they form the exact cinematic radiance requested in the prompt. This is not a cheaper replacement for physical worship. Instead, it represents the construction of highly accessible, borderless digital temples. The prompt even specifies its linguistic target: video language Hindi. That single instruction aims the creation at a massive, hyper-connected digital population. When vast algorithmic reach is paired with perfectly executed cinematic reference, spiritual art has the ability to scale infinitely, without losing its psychological weight. True digital devotion is achieved only when artists use the cutting-edge language of 3D cinema to flawlessly translate ancient spiritual psychology.